Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and in this video I want to talk about the sweet spot price to PC gaming in 2018. Now, if you guys have been following me for a while, I made a video similar to this back in July of 2016, but obviously since then the PC gaming market and PC building market has changed so drastically that it is pretty paramount that I make an update to that video. And for those of you guys that don't know, when I say sweet spot to PC gaming, as you guys know, when you build a PC, it is very flexible. The power is really in the builder's hand and what kind of parts you want, how much money you want to put into your PC, but there's always that sweet spot that budget-minded builders will go towards where you're getting a great value but also not spending a lot of money. For a long time, and in that specific video that I referenced, I would say that sweet spot lies somewhere in that $600 to $1,000 range, more so in that $700 to $800 range. In the past, you would have found a very high quality PC in that price bracket while not foregoing performance all that bad. Well, since then, things have really changed dramatically, and why has it changed? Well, most of you guys know everything that went on with mining really changed the prices of various graphics cards, and a lot of them were graphics cards that are always geared towards that sweet spot budget-minded gamer, and those GPUs prices, the GTX 1060 6GB as well as the RX 580, GPUs like that are crazy expensive, and that also bleeded over to a lot of other GPUs' prices being altered, although not as drastically as, say, a 6GB 1060 or even more so the 8GB RX 580, but still what you guys obviously know is that things are very different now comparatively speaking to 16 months ago. So now we have the mission to tackle a new sweet spot. Well, as the PC building market has changed, the ideal PC experience has also changed. 16 months ago, I would have said that most people are looking to game at 1080p and get a higher frame rate at that resolution. You know, your 50 to 60 frames per second is usually pretty good, but now there are many gamers that are moving to higher resolutions such as 1440p or even 4K. Now 4K is very much geared towards your enthusiasts. You got to be dropping a lot of money on your PC if you're looking to do high quality 4K gaming. Me personally speaking, if you're looking to build a high quality PC in 2018, I feel like you should be gaming at 1440p, but I also feel like most of you guys disagree with me on that. That's why PC is so interesting as a platform, because everything I say is so subjective. For me, 1440p gaming is that ideal spot. For many of you, and I would say the vast majority of PC gamers, 1080p still seems to be like the way to go, but I also feel like that sweet spot PC, that ideal budgeted PC that kind of finds a happy medium between performance and price, really could work to either resolution, and let me explain. So as I mentioned prior, your GTX 1060 6GB and your RX 580 8GB, those are the type of GPUs you would put in these sweet spot PCs. Well, now a quick look over at Newegg will show you that the cheapest 6GB 1060 is $280, and that one is out of stock. And outside of that, the cheapest one is $300. The RX 580, on the other hand, can go well over that. I see a Sapphire NITRO 580 on Newegg for $390. These GPUs now, the 8GB 580 and the 1060 6GB, unless you find a really good deal on either of them, they're just trash values. That is as close to being fact without it being fact, because I'm sure somebody could argue a reasoning to get a 6GB 1060 or an 8GB 580, but from my vantage point, I just think they're horrible value. So it's come to the point where you really have to make that next step over if you're looking for value. If you're looking for the highest dollar to performance ratio, you can't be looking at that price bracket anymore. Ideally, you would want to have your eyes on a GTX 1070, which they are pretty hard to find for good prices, but you can find them, and I readily see them available for $400, which is still far more than what they used to go for. I believe back before all the mining stuff happened, they were readily available for like $350. But given the performance that you're getting, $400 is still pretty solid, and at 1080p the 1070 is gonna burn through any well-optimized game, and at 1440p it does really well too. So the 1070, in my opinion, has become the best value-oriented GPU. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you can also look for deals on the 1070 Ti, which I see one available for $490, and you can find them on sale for like $460, and for a while they were giving copies of Destiny 2 with it. So that might be a better route to go for some of you guys. Now that's just the graphics card, but the graphics card is the component that's price has been altered the most, so that's the most relevant thing to talk about. And you guys know that RAM prices have changed a lot. The amount of RAM you get is the amount of RAM that you're gonna get. There's really no competition in the RAM market, so you're just gonna have to take that sting up front and just accept the fact that you're gonna be spending a lot of money on RAM. That's unfortunate, but that is also the world we live in. Outside of the GPU, I also want to talk a little bit about the CPU, because back when I made this video, I would have always recommended you to get an Intel Core i5. AMD wasn't doing a lot of great stuff at that time, but now with the Ryzen CPUs out, Ryzen has added such a great layer to PC building and has added so much versatility to PC building that it almost offsetted the GPU price increases. Not necessarily, but it definitely helped. Could you imagine in a world where the GPU prices went up and Ryzen CPUs didn't exist? That would absolutely suck. Now, why am I such a big fan of Ryzen CPUs? I really haven't gotten over that, but it's the fact that on the budget end, the Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 3 CPUs are actually really solid options. You don't have to spend $220 anymore on an Intel Core i5. A lot of the lower end Ryzen CPUs can be paired with higher end GPUs, and a lot of these Ryzen CPUs go on sale all the time. If you guys keep up with my hardware deals videos, Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 3s and Ryzen 7s even go on sale all the time, and you can find decent Ryzen 5 CPUs for like $165, and that is so great because it's still a high quality CPU, and it almost offsets the fact that you're paying so much more on a GPU. But nowadays you can save on the CPU, where back 16 months ago, the options were really, you can get a Core i5, a K-series processor that's unlocked, you could get a lower end Core i5, save a little bit of money, and then after that, you were looking at $120 CPUs that really didn't perform up to par. Now you've got that middle ground with the Ryzen CPUs, and that's great. And if you want to be even cheaper, you can get the Ryzen 3 CPUs, and that acts as a good budget-oriented CPU as well. But still, the fact remains that if you want the most value out of your PC, you've got to be dropping at least $400 on your GPU and get a 1070. So now you kind of see everything come together. When you look at the GPU prices and the CPU prices and the RAM prices, if you drop $400 on a 1070, and that's a pretty good deal on a 1070, that's a little bit harder to find, but you can find it. Let's say 170 on a Ryzen 5, and then we'll just allocate around $80 to RAM. That would be for 8 gigabytes of RAM. Ideally, you would want 16 gigabytes, but 8 gigabytes can still get you by. Doing some mental math, I believe that would add up to $650, and then you would need the rest of the build. And if you want to throw an operating system in there, you would come out to around $1,000. Maybe you can forego on some aspects, get it a little bit cheaper if you find the right deals, use mail-in rebates. But I really believe that in 2018, if you're looking for dollar to performance ratio, $1,000 is that sweet spot. It's not $600 to $800 anymore. You gotta drop $1,000. If you want the most bang for your buck, you can go with the 1060 and save money, but the issue with the 1060 and the issue with the 580 is that for the price that they are, because that they're north of $300 at times, I would just pay the extra money and get a 1070. It's just so much more worth it. And yeah, you could look at the 3GB 1060 and that would offer quality performance at 1080p, but it is going to be limiting in certain scenarios, and I just feel like with the 3GB 1060, a year and a half down the line, a lot of gamers are just going to be looking to upgrade off of that. Whereas if you get a 1070 right now, even if you're gaming at 1080p, yeah, 1070 might be a tad bit overkill. It's going to offer you a lot more longevity, and for a long time, I was of the notion that you shouldn't really build a PC with longevity in mind. You should build a PC for the best bang for your buck at that current moment, but the 1070 still offers the best bang for your buck, and you're just getting longevity as an added bonus. So that's gonna wrap up this video, guys. I hope you found it informative. I went a tad bit long, but I wanted to cover a couple of things. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Hopefully I shed some light on those of you that are looking to get the most out of your money, what kind of PC you should be going for. I really believe you should either be getting a Ryzen 5 build with a 1070, or if you do want to get an i5, if you're just like Intel for life, and I don't know how you could be after all those security breaches, but nonetheless, I'm sure there's one or two of you out there like that. I just think the Ryzen 5 is an incredible value right now. And that paired with a 1070, you get all the other parts. RAM's a bit expensive, but around $1,000, you can build yourself a real kick-ass PC that's gonna perform really well. And at the end of the day, PC building-wise, $1,000 is really more so in the mid-tier spectrum than the high-end spectrum. So it's not all too bad. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have a request for a future video, let me know in the comments section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.